American homestead.
Your whole purpose is to sell your product. Well, if you walked into a commercial store and the table that your product was sitting on was dirty, would you still want to buy that product? No. So the appearance that you bring forth when you come to a farmer's market is just as important as the quality of your product. Now, you don't have to spend hundreds of dollars on a display. And I know that there are people that look at my display. How many of y'all have been to the farmer's market and seen our display? Poor Tracy's like, I've helped you pack that thing up. So is Denise. Yeah, they had our entire thing knocked down in the trailer, us hooked up to the trailer, and we were pulling out in 20 minutes before that storm hit a couple of weeks ago. That's what farmers market families do. It's pretty awesome. When I started out, like Shane said, I had one table. I borrowed that table. For the first 2 years, we borrowed our church's tables because they were kind enough to do that for us. We borrowed their trailer. When our setup got so big that it wouldn't fit in the back of a Suburban, they let us use their cargo trailer. You can do what you need to do for free or very inexpensively. So don't ever think that when you come to set up for the farmer's market that you have to spend, hundreds of dollars. Just make sure what you set up is attractive to the eye. Make sure it's clean. If you're using a tablecloth, make sure it's, ironed. Don't be like me. I looked back at that first display. Oh gosh, Tracy, I was so embarrassed. I looked at Byron and said, oh my Lord, have mercy. I said, you let me leave that set up like that? Because that tablecloth was all wrinkled. I mean, it was rough. And he said, but baby, people still bought stuff. And I said, they did. Those poor people. But don't do what I do. I had a wrinkled tablecloth, so I can tell you don't have a wrinkled tablecloth. There we go. So make sure that whatever you choose is going to fit your branding. And I'm going to talk about that. A lot of you guys might not even know what branding is or how to do it. Most people think you have to hire it out. I'll tell you right now, I do everything for my business. I did the branding. I did not do the logo. I have a story behind that. But I could have. I worked as a digital artist for 11 years for a professional photographer, so I could have done my own logo. I run the website. I do all the website work. I do all my business finances. I do our taxes. That will end as of this year. We're getting big enough now where we've got an accountant. Thank you, Jesus. So you can do it. You may have to watch some YouTube videos to figure it out. But YouTube is one of the most amazing things, and it's free. There's also a company out there called Skillshare. I have never gotten on there, but I have lots of people who do use it, and they teach courses from Photoshop, web design, business marketing. You take it at your own pace. It's very reasonably priced. So there's no excuse. If you guys have got an entrepreneur spirit within you, then you are not so unintelligent that you cannot take one of these classes and learn from it. I've heard so many people go, oh, I'm too dumb to do that. I'm sorry. I've homeschooled since my oldest was in first grade, and he's 22. I don't buy it. I've never met I would say I've never met a dumb person, but then that wouldn't be honest. I've never met people in my farmer's market family that can't learn the skills that they need to be able to run their business. Because you guys are resourceful people. We are the salt of the earth, and we can survive. And so you guys can learn what you need to learn. It might not be your favorite thing. I will tell you, it is not my favorite thing to run reports at the end of the month for our investors. I hate that. I don't like it. I gripe about it every month. Now, I'm overjoyed to hand them that check, but I don't like doing the reports. So you don't have to like it, but you do have to do it. So Make sure that your display is attractive to the eye. Make sure it's clean. Make sure it's simple. If you have signage, don't, I would say don't write it by hand, but that's not true because I have some signage that's handwritten. I have some chalkboard signs up that we use that are handwritten. Just make sure they're legible. If you have the handwriting of a serial killer, have your spouse or someone else help you. So just make sure any signage you do have that's handwritten, make sure it's legible. One thing that farmers market customers, and any customer they really do prefer this, is if you have your products priced. I've seen so many customers walk up to a farmer's market booth and go, well, what's that cost? And then you have to run through your mind. If you've got several different products, you're like, and they're like, oh, okay, never mind. They like to see clear pricing on your products because you're upfront. It shows honesty, it shows integrity, and they feel like if you don't have things priced, maybe you're hiding something. Maybe it'll be $6 for me, but it might be $8 for the next person. Now that's just personal perception of people.
Might just not even ask,
right, or they might not even ask. They might just pick something up and go, oh, okay, and walk on. So you want to present your product in the best light. Now, I'm gonna meddle just for about this much. Make sure you present yourself in the best light. Now, I'm not saying you have to dress to the nines when you come out to a farmer's market. That is ridiculous. I had one of my farmer's market family. I came out from doing the Affair of the Heart, and her daughter said, look, there's Jamie, and she goes, where? And she said, she's right there. She goes, that's not her. Because I was dressed up. I was wearing heels, and I had makeup on, and I had my jewelry on, and she didn't recognize me. And I said, well, you're used to me out here in my jeans and my baseball hat with my logo on it, my branding's on it. I wear my T-shirts out here, and I'll tell you, I normally don't wear makeup. So, that's just, you don't have to be super fancy, but make sure you're presentable. Make sure that when your customer's gonna walk up to you, that not only what you're wearing, but your demeanor is inviting. One of the first things that people see when they walk into my booth, at least I hope, is my smile. I want them to know they're welcome. I want them to know, hey, we're just a family, veteran-owned business. Feel free to come in and pick up. I always try and make them laugh, because if you can make your customers laugh, they're more at ease. So there's just little things that you can do that not only sells your product, but it sells an experience. People like products like Coke because they don't just sell pop. They sell an experience. Most of you guys are old enough to remember the Have a Coke and a Smile commercials. It was about family. It was about camaraderie. It was, Coca-Cola sold an experience. It wasn't just, here, have pop. There was a reason that their customers came back. Some of it was that they liked the way it tasted. Some of it was because they wanted the experience. Before they took beer commercials off, beer commercials were a prime example of trying to sell an experience. They made everything look like it was so much fun. They were having a party. They were driving the big boats. They were trying to sell an experience. Now, is that about as dishonest as it comes? Yes, but that's the difference between us and a big corporation. We try to be honest and have integrity in what we do, and they're worried about their bottom line and how much money they can put in their bank account. So that's kind of the difference there. But you want to make an experience. When I come and I talk to Denise, she has a passion about what she does, and it's contagious. When I get to sit down and talk with Tracy and Shelley at their table, I know that they are passionate about what they do. I can tell you what they grow. I can tell you a little bit about, Shelley, I can tell you a little bit about Tracy. Some of that's because we've spent a long time together as vendors. But I think they do that with their customer base too. That's how people come back. That's how they know, oh, that's Grammy Jam. My kids know that's a Grammy Jam. They don't know that that's Denise. That's Grammy. That's Grammy Jam. When she came out and spoke with me not too long ago, my daughter goes, Grammy Jam's here. She makes my princess jelly. She sells an experience for my 8-year-old little girl that she can't get enough of. It's that easy. It's that simple. When people step into our booth, they know, number one, we are passionately patriotic because my husband is a Marine Corps veteran and my oldest son is currently deployed and he's in the Air Force. We have a long line of military service in our family, and we like to honor our military veterans, and we back the blue, we back our first responders, and we give discounts. That's one of the main values of our business. I'll talk real quick about setting a mission, a vision, and your values for your business. What is your mission? What's your why? Why are you doing what you do? Denise, why do you do what you do?
I originally started as an additional income source.
Okay. And that's...
In a bad time, yeah, when I just needed some extras.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Why do you do what you do?
I want to do what I do for an additional income source.
Okay.
And something to work into. I train horses, and that's not...
Sorry, the semi drove by.
Okay.
But right, you need to have a mission. You need to have something that drives what you do. I love the story. Have a story. When they sat down and they introduced themselves, they had a story. There had been an orchard on J. Vine Hill Road at one time, and they want to bring that back. That is going to grab people, and that's going to pull them in, and they're going to want to follow every step you take. They're going to want to see you bust up that rocky ground. I know all about it. They're going to watch. They're going to want to see images of that. That's where you're going to gather your following on Facebook and on Instagram. Yeah, is Facebook and Instagram a pain? Yeah, but that's where people get to know you. They may have 20, 30, seconds with you out here in your table, but when you're on Facebook and you're doing little bit videos and they're watching you sweat your rear end off trying to plant those trees, or they watch, a crop fail, or you're open with them about, hey, I've had knee surgery. It becomes personal. They love watching my kids. I have some of the most hysterical children, especially the 5-year-old. He thinks he's a comedian. They love it. And I try and be real and open. When stuff happens, when we lose an animal, I post about it. That draws people in. They realize that when it's 15 below outside, I'm trudging my rear end to the barn to milk a goat, and it ain't fun. So when you have to pay $7 for a bar of soap, don't forget what I was out there doing. When I get up at 3 in the morning to make sure that my mama goat has delivered her babies and she hasn't died in the process, that they feel connected. So as you set up your table and as you begin to get an audience, give them a story. Give them something they can relate to. In this culture and in this society, everybody is so distant from each other. We have more technology to bring us closer than we've ever had before, but we are so far apart from each other. So let me encourage you to do even just a little something to change that. How many of y'all have ever heard of Apricot Lane Farms out of California? Biggest little farm. They did a movie. It was a documentary. It was incredible. If you haven't watched it,
My kiddo found it on accident.
it's amazing. I love it. It's called The Biggest Little Farm. They can walk you through everything I'm talking to you about because she started with a dream, and her husband joked about it. She wanted a farm with every kind of animal on it you could think of. And they lived in California, in the city. They had a little bitty apartment. They had to find investors. They had to go through all of these stages. It's an incredible ride. I highly encourage watching them. If you're on Facebook, find their Facebook page. If you're on Instagram, find their Instagram. It's a hoot. I love it. And what they did is they put their journey out there. And they have millions of followers. They have millions of customers that come and buy their products. They're farmers market people. That's what they do. They sell at California farmers markets. So if anybody has made it big doing farmers market stuff, it is the Biggest Little Farm. And it is a wonderful, wonderful documentary. So I want you to think hard about your mission. Write it down. I encourage you, write it down. If you don't have a mission statement written down, do so. You will find our mission statement on our Facebook page. I will not bore you with it. But it is to bring natural products in an affordable way with honesty and integrity and hard work that was passed down from our grandparents. That's so important to us. Our children work. They take care of the animals. They help us in the business. In fact, my little 5-year-old barcodes products. So if you see a wonky upside down barcode, then you can bet little Isaiah slapped that bad boy on the product. But the joy that I see in that little guy's face when he feels like he's done something. He's a part of something bigger than himself. And that's why we're all here. We want to be a part of something bigger than ourselves. So I encourage you, take some time. Write out your mission. Read it. Sit on it for a few weeks. Rewrite it again. Your vision. You have to have a vision for why you want to do what you do. For me, I want to create affordable, natural products for people to use on their body. I don't believe the term organic should only be for the uber rich. I believe that you should be able to use quality bath and body products, thank you, sir, that are affordable. I'm a mom of 5 kids. I am all about affordability. So that's my vision. You need to know, who are you creating these things for? When I sat down and began the branding process, it was intimidating. And I'll be honest, it felt kind of dumb sometimes because I had to dream up who my ideal customer would be. What age were they? What did they do for a living? What did they look like? What did they like to eat? When I went through the branding book that I've got here in front of me, I was like, oh, this is just silly. That was a year ago. We've tripled our production because of demand. So it can't be that ridiculous. There's got to be something to that. So imagine who your customer base is. I will tell you right now that my customer base is not teenagers. My customer base ranges from about 20 to about 50. Now, do I have customers that are older than 50? Yes. In fact, some of my best customers are in their 60s. They love our skincare. They think it is the greatest thing that has ever been produced on the face of the planet and have threatened me with my life if I ever quit making it. I promised them I would not ever quit making it. But the bulk of my customers are going to come from that age range. They're going to come from about 20, maybe 55. It's good to know your customer base. It's good to know who you're trying to attract to your table, to your website, to your business to purchase your product. If you're not making the kind of sales that you want, that's probably a good key that you need to figure out who your customer base is. I tell you, another person that's not my customer base, the one that walks in and says, we're vegan, do you have anything vegan? Now, I have nothing against vegan people. I tried it once, it was the most miserable 3 days of my life. And I have to tell them, no, I'm sorry. We are a goat milk bath and body company. Our products are based on goat's milk. So if you want vegan, I know several businesses that I can send you to. And I don't hesitate, and I'm not hateful. There is a Magnolia Bath Company on Cherry Street, and they are vegan. You can go right down there on Cherry Street, and she will hook you up. Do I know?
It's my cousin.
Is it? Great. I'm like, I've never tried the product, but it's a beautiful store. So I'll tell them right away, hey, guess what? You can go right down there, and they will fix you up with some vegan soap. Now, if you want vegan deodorant, I got you covered. But if you want vegan soap, I cannot help you. So it's good to know who you can send your customers to. If they're not your customer base, it's nothing against you. It's nothing against me when people don't want a animal product-based product. It's no skin off my teeth. Let me send you where you can go. I have another girl that's actually here very close. She's owns Big Heart Soap Company, and she's here in Osage County. She has a goat milk soap, but predominantly she's not a goat milk soap company. She has a lot of products that are vegan. So, I'll send somebody to Elizabeth and say, hey, she's been in my shop before. I've sold her molds before. Go patronize, or not go be a patron of her business. Help her out. She's a mom of 2 kids. She's Native American owned. That's her story. That's what drives her. So I love being able to share that with people. See, if I didn't know my competition, I wouldn't have been able to tell that individual. And I really did do that. I sent them to her. I said, you need to go try Magnolia Soap Company over there on Cherry Street in Tulsa.
It's a chain.
It is. And I've had people ask me what the difference between the products are. And whenever somebody asks you that, please don't be afraid to tell them, but always do it in a light that you would be proud of somebody to say the same things about your business. So when I tell somebody the difference between my business and Magnolia is a chain. It's a family-owned business. They bought into a chain. They actually go in and they make the soap just like we do, with the lye, the oils, the butters. They do it the old-fashioned way, just like we do. They just have a different mission. And they bought into a chain where I chose to maybe one day create my own. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. So, your values. What are the values that you're building your business on? Our core values are honesty, integrity, and hard work. My grandmother displayed that to me from the time I was a very little girl. She hung all my grandpa's clothes on the line, and she made bread by scratch. And those were some of the sweetest memories I had as a kid, was watching her work her fingers to the bone in an urban homestead. She didn't live in the country. She lived in the city of Bartlesville. But they had the most immaculate garden I've ever seen in my life. Yes. It was gorgeous. They produced tomatoes and jalapenos and the lettuce and the vegetables that they ate. That was where it came from, was their garden. And it was just a different time. It was a different time. And we wanted our kids to know that if they want anything, if anything is worth having, then it's worth working really hard for. We wanted them to know that integrity is who you are when nobody's looking. Are you willing to cut corners when your customer's not standing right there and staring at you? You got to ask yourself, what are my values? Will you be true to those values when nobody's watching? So, that's just one of the things in branding that you kind of want to look at. Figuring out who your customer base is important. When you do branding, another thing that you need to think about, and there's a lot, you're going to want a logo, something that will catch somebody's eye, something that will distinguish you from other people. It still floors me when people see our logo and go, you're the Solid Rock people. You make that goat milk soap, don't you? I bought that at Ace Hardware on 116th in Owasso yesterday. Wow. when people buy our t-shirts and they wear our merchandise around, and people are like, I know who you are. That is the weirdest feeling in the entire world, I'll just let you know. It is really weird. But that's what you're striving for. You want people to see that logo, and instantly they associate that logo with your product. When they see the triple mountain peaks and the star, people say, goat milk soap. I know exactly who that is. And that's what we strived for. Now, when I did my logo, I went to a gentleman that I'd known since I was in high school, worked beside the professional photographer I worked at for 11 years, and I said, Gary, I need a logo. This is my idea. I want something with a mountain and maybe a couple of goats, and I want this scripture down at the bottom. And he said, will you let me design your logo for you? Will you trust me? Sure. Trust you with anything, Gary. He came back with the current logo that we have. And he said, this will also help you with your mission. Because our mission is to spread the love of Christ to our customers. And to do it in a way that whether they are a Christian or whether they're an atheist or whether they're a pagan, they're going to leave my booth and they're going to know we genuinely care about them. And so this logo gives us a great conversation starter. The three mountain peaks are the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. The star is the bright and morning star because that's Christ. We're built on the solid rock. So I have a great story behind my logo. And I've had white witches come into my booth and say, that is the greatest story I have ever heard. I love your logo. They were not intimidated by the fact that I was a believer. They didn't feel threatened, and they shouldn't. I'm there to sell them soap, and I'm there to show them love. That's why I'm there. I'm not there to intimidate anybody. So find somebody who can give you a solid logo. If your cousin Vinny is great at digital artwork, by all means, go ahead. But chances are cousin Vinny does not do digital artwork for a living. So find somebody that can do it. If you can't do it, find somebody who can, and find somebody who's good. Don't skimp on your logo. The reason I say that is because that is the face of your business. Aside from your face, that's what they see.
And I will tell you a hint on that. There are services you can get online.
Yes.
American Homestead.